The views and opinions are those of the Wrestling Fans Insight and are not affiliated in any way with Libsyn.com or any of the major podcast platforms. This podcast may contain some offensive language and some adult content. Listening discretion is highly advised.
On this week's episode, I will be covering New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW's pay-per-view event, The Forbidden Door, that took place last Sunday, June 26th, and WWE's Money in the Bank Premium Live event that took place last night, Saturday, July 2nd. Hey everybody, this is John Hoppy, and you're listening to the Wrestling Fans Insight. Will has decided to take some time off to go be with some friends during this holiday weekend. He's very much earned it like most other hardworking individuals. So, Will, I hope, if you're listening, I hope you're having fun with all your buds. We'll catch up with you next week. In the meantime, this will be pretty much a very short episode. I don't really have a whole lot going on. I did not get a lot of time to watch this week's normal weekly content with WWE and AEW. It's been a rather busy week. For anyone who doesn't know me somewhat personally yet, I am an ice cream salesman as a full-time job, and that definitely takes up a lot of my hours. I'm working about anywhere from, 75 to 85-hour weeks, and with the holiday weekend, it just intensifies even more. And so, with that being said, no more of my dramatic life. We'll just move on and get right to it. Let's go ahead and start off with AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling's Forbidden Door pay-per-view event. We'll start with the buy-in, pretty much the freebie matches for the night. We had Itachi. I'm really terrible with any foreign names, so you're going to have to bear with me on this episode. And Hiroki Goto defeating the team of the Factory, which was QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. Great match. However, I think we all pretty much saw this one coming. QT Marshall and his Factory just seems to be kind of like the enhancement talent for AEW, but it was nice to see that we get to start off with a win for under the New Japan Pro Wrestling's belt. And not a whole lot to it. It was a great way to start off the night to get fans warmed up as they were still getting in their seats. And I really don't have much other than we just move on to the next one, which we see actually a pretty good battle-sized match here with Lance Archer and Nick Comoroto. Lance Archer getting the win. But, man, this is something you would think would be more in Vince McMahon's books, where we got two big monsters going at it. I felt the match was maybe just a little too short, I'm sure due to time, with the now squeezing in a 4-match buy-in, which I felt was a little bit much. I know we could have seen a little bit more potential out of these two powerhouses, but unfortunately it was mainly just for looks with two behemoths going at it. Archer gets the win with his blackout finish, and that was it. We go on to the third match for the buy-in, which we saw the team of Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee get the victory out of El Desperado and Yoshimoto Kanemaru. Again, sorry for the name butchering. Match was a little slow to start off, but it picked up right toward the last few minutes, and I feel that Swerve and Desperado made the best of it. They were definitely the all-stars for that little segment. And for the last match of the buy-in, the team of Max Caster, and I can really say just Billy Gunn because of what we saw later on, defeated the team of LA Dojo from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Austin and Colton Gunn apparently got distracted from Danhausen creating their new theme music, which caused both of them to go run in the back looking for him. And this left pretty much an early advantage for LA Dojo to have a 4-on-2, pretty much a handicap match against Billy Gunn and Max Caster. However, it didn't work out in their favor. The team of Max Caster and Billy Gunn pretty much got the job done. Out of the 4 matches, I definitely would say Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland with Yoshimaro Kanemaru and El Desperado. That definitely took the buy-in segment for sure. And now moving on to the main card, in the very first match, which I was a little shocked to see this one open, we saw the team of Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki defeat the team of Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. Really good match overall. I felt either team had a way to win it the way it was choreographed, but we also saw chaos ensue, and pretty much chaos in the right way. I mean, this was definitely not going to be a traditional wrestling match, as we know how heated the rivalry between Blackpool Combat Club and Eddie Kingston, along with the Jericho Appreciation Society. It's just going to intensify even more. And I know Blood and Guts has already aired since I'm recording this a week later, and hopefully when I go back to watch it, it'll definitely be more intense than what the pay-per-view was. And in match number 2 for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship and the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship, FTR gets the victory over Roppongi Vice and United Empire, Jeff Cobb and Great-O-Khan. It was just a really great match overall. Very physical, nothing short of action, no wasted motion. Tag team wrestling at its best. But we saw FTR make history, now having 3 separate titles and for 3 different brands. They are now the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, and AAA's Tag Team Champions. Going on to match number 3, AEW All-Atlantic Championship match for the finals, which was pretty much like a Fatal 4-Way style match. We had the Bastard Pac, who is now a champion, getting the victory over Malachi Black, Miro, and Clark Connors. I really thought this match stood out mainly because not just the heated rivalry between, the House of Black member Malachi Black and the Bastard Pac from Death Triangle, but you see Miro bring in a different aspect where he made it known that he's after anyone and everyone. And last week's episode, I was hoping where I predicted Clark Connor might get the upset victory, being the New Japan standout, but he had a great showing. Clark Connor did impress me. I kind of feel a few other podcasters kind of weren't so high on him, but this guy, he performed well. All 4 members easy for me to say, all 4 talent performed very well in this match. Not saying anyone deserved it more than anyone, but Pac definitely earned that victory and the championship. Congratulations, Pac. Moving on to match 4, I know I'm going to butcher this name. The team of Shingo Takagi, I think that's how it's pronounced, Darby Allin and Sting defeat the team of Bullet Club's Young Bucks and El Phantasmo. Unfortunately, we had some issues where this was actually supposed to be an 8-man tag, but due to, I'm not sure if it was injury or some kind of COVID protocol. Nonetheless, it ended up being a trios tag match, and the dudes with attitudes come out with the victory. Highlights from that match was just Sting and his craziness, still jumping off the top of any type of balcony or rafter. Holy Moses, man. Guy's over 60 years old and still doing crazy crap like that. But, hey, he's having the time of his life, and what are we going to do? Tell him no? I think if we do, he's going to just find a way to resist us even more. All right, coming back from our short little break there. This next match has me a little confused because I'm not sure it was placed properly in the pay-per-view card. It was for the AEW Women's Championship match. Thunder Rosa gets the victory and retains her championship over Toni Storm. These two, I don't know if they really had a bad spot in that entire segment. Both are really great technical wrestlers in the ring. They always have the fans' support on TV, but for whatever reason, I don't know if AEW just isn't paying attention, but the consistency seems to be they put the women's match more in the middle, and that's right about the time where many fans looked for pretty much an intermission break. I felt the crowd reaction should have been way better, as this was more of an ideal pro wrestling fans match than anything. Again, match placement is key here. To me, it should have been either early in the card or later in the card. Nonetheless, it just didn't draw the reaction most of us wrestling fans were hoping for. I do give credit to both ladies, though. They performed very well. There was really no flaws with the match. Moving on, for the IWGP United States Championship match, Orange Cassidy comes up short against the retaining champion Will Ospreay. From bell to bell, it was very exciting, folks. Orange Cassidy shows that he's not somebody to be taken very lightly. He can perform when he needs to. He can pull out moves that will just surprise the hell out of you. And Will Ospreay's just, if you haven't watched him in New Japan, I'll tell you, you're missing out on a lot of great stuff from this guy. Really, if you can, take the time, go review some of Will Ospreay's past matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Moving on to the next match, Zack Sabre Jr. facing whoever it was that Daniel Bryan handpicked for his replacement on the card. Making his AEW debut, Claudio Castagnoli. And if you don't know him personally or from his other gimmick, it was the former Cesaro of WWE. Zack Sabre Jr., as always, never a dull match with that guy. If you're very pro wrestling minded, this is a guy you should be watching as well over on the New Japan's programming. This guy can hold his own, and really, he should be a world champion at some point. Claudio, WWE dropped the ball with him. I'm not sure what the hell creative did not see in this guy. He should have been a multiple-time world champion or universal champion. Anyways, WWE's loss, AEW's gain. The interesting part, we'll see how him and Eddie Kingston will get along given their past history in the independent scene. And like I said, Blood and Guts is already come and gone, and I haven't had time to go back and watch it yet. But I guarantee we're going to see a feud between those two. Match number 8 for the night, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Pretty much another fatal four-way style match. Jay White retains his championship against Hangman Adam Page, Adam Cole, and Kushida Okada. It was an awesome match up until right about the very end. It looked like Okada was going to try to do the Rainmaker to Adam Cole, but it looked like Adam Cole's knee gave out on him or something. I haven't had time to really read up or get any information as far as what happened with that little spot. But we see Adam Cole pretty much just fall to the mat. And then we see Jay White but basically push Okada out of the ring, and hurrying goes and makes a cover on Adam Cole. And you could tell by the fan reaction, the way that match ended, everyone was a little bit confused. Because Jay White didn't really hit anything on Adam Cole as far as signature moves or whatnot to end the match. It just threw Okada out and pinned Adam Cole that pretty much fell to the mat. That was it. 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then in the main event for the pretty much becoming the interim AEW World Champion, Jon Moxley manages to become a two-time champion, defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi in what was really a great main event. Typical match for the average pro wrestling fan that wants to see very physical moveset, and that's what it was. We saw Moxley eventually, of course, bleeding like usual in a very heavy, hard-hitting match. Tanahashi, as always, has performed very well. If you're not very familiar with Tanahashi's work, again, go to New Japan Pro Wrestling and watch this guy. This, if I can't remember if he's in a Hall of Fame or not. If he's not, this guy should be a first ballot Hall of Famer in any International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. And that pretty much sums up my take on the Forbidden Door pay-per-view event. I know it wasn't real detailed, but as I'm keeping my eye on the clock, I got to kind of hurry up with the podcast a little bit because it's a lot to take in with now getting in my views on WWE's Money in the Bank from last night. We're going to take a quick little small break again, and we'll get right into it. All right, let's get into the WWE's Money in the Bank that took place last night, Saturday, July 2nd. Start off with the opening match for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Liv Morgan, way to go, Liv, gets a victory over Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Raquel Rodriguez, Lacey Evans, and Shotzi. Very well deserved, Liv. You earned it. Great job. And just kind of few takes on it. We obviously saw a few miscues in that match. You could see how dangerous it is for whenever you're seeing props like ladders, chairs, tables, anything involved. And where we saw Shotzi kind of maybe try to rush up the ladder a little too quick, you obviously saw she did not quite make the move that she wanted to on Raquel, and hopefully all of the ladies are okay from that little segment. I know there was a lot of bumps and bruises going on. Nonetheless, another high spot I would have to say, Liv with the powerbomb on Lacey Evans from the top of the ladder. Holy Moses, man, that was a hell of a move. And then, man, I'll tell you, there was just that one little nasty spot where that was, I think it was a segment with Shotzi and Alexa Bliss. It looked like Shotzi or Alexa might have misjudged where they were and managed to twist the ladder. And wow, you kept seeing them try to use that ladder that was mangled up, but eventually they had to finally get that damn thing out of the way and use a different ladder. But nonetheless, Liv Morgan manages to be the one that gets up to the top and gets that briefcase. Moving on to match number 2 in the United States Championship, Bobby Lashley becomes the new WWE United States Champion, defeating Theory in what was pretty much a killer match. Bobby Lashley, I felt for the most part, dominated that entire thing. There was a few little bits where Theory had some momentum, but take nothing away from Theory. He's a great hand. He's only, I think they said he was 24, 25 years old, and damn, the guy can wrestle like he's a veteran. It's going to be interesting to see where Bobby Lashley for a little while was actually wrestling for the World Heavyweight Championship not too long ago, but now gaining the United States Championship. We'll just kind of see where this ends up. I know with Austin Theory, not to kind of get ahead of the gun, but manages to find his way in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Do we see Theory use that briefcase to get to the United States Championship again? Or are we going to end up seeing him go for the undisputed WWE Championship? We'll see. We'll see. Going on to match number 3 for the Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair manages to defeat Carmella and retain her championship. Uh, Carmella looked really good in this match, being vicious with a few of her movesets, but the power of Bianca was just too much for her, and Bianca gets the victory. However, post-match, Carmella takes advantage and tries to attack Bianca, and for whatever reason, maybe fans were thinking, ooh, maybe she was setting Liv up for the cash-in, and sure enough, it did not happen, so we just move on. Then we go on to the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. The Usos retain in a very hard-fought and controversial win against the Street Profits. And when I mean controversial, we see right at the video replay, apparently we didn't get to see it on the right angle at home. Montez Ford's right shoulder was actually up the whole time during the pin count, and the referee was out of place. It's going to be interesting because I think the rumor talk lately with the angle now being the Street Profits aren't getting along. I was waiting to see Dawkins maybe attack Ford from behind after that loss. However, with that little controversy now, maybe we're not going to see that going that direction happen. Or maybe after a possible rematch with the Usos, we'll probably end up seeing that go on. Who knows? You can definitely tell with the way Montez Ford has bulked up, and the commentary team even pretty much let it out. The guy's gained quite a bit of muscle. You could see it on TV too. It may just be time where the Street Profits split up and go on as single stars, and really both men have the potential. Dawkins was already a big guy as is, and he's very athletic. Montez Ford with his high-flying skills, and I'll tell you, you can't go wrong with having those guys either stay as a team or move on to maybe single runs. Then on to the SmackDown Women's Championship. Ronda Rousey defeats Natalya. You'll hear why I'm laughing here in a minute. It was a good victory. Both women tried their best to get their submissions in, but I kind of felt the match was very sloppy between the two. It just did not seem like anyone's heart was into it, really. I felt both women could definitely gave a better performance, and I'm not saying I can do any better, but this one definitely was very obvious to the naked eye. I don't know if maybe there was some possible injury, or maybe it was kayfabe injury. I don't know. And who knows, maybe Ronda was going on to better things after tonight, taking some time off. But needless to say, right after Ronda gets the victory over Natalya, Liv Morgan cashes in her Money in the Bank contract, tries to get a fast one over Ronda, and Ronda gets Alexa right into an ankle lock. But Liv, with her quick wits, attacks Ronda's injured knee, rolls up Ronda really tight, and gets the 1-2-3 and becomes the new easy for me to say. Liv Morgan becomes the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Congratulations, Liv. And one thing to note was watching Ronda Rousey be a true sport about it and hands the belt to Liv and gives her a hug, telling her she deserved it. And for the final match of the night, which was the men's Money in the Bank match, we had pretty much already spoiled it earlier in the episode. Theory, who was a surprise entrant, gets the victory over Riddle, Omos, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Seth freaking Rollins, and Madcap Moss. It was definitely unpredictable to see Adam Pearce come out, especially, before the bell even rang. He comes out and announces that, hey, since we're in Vegas, as they say, we're going to raise the stakes. We'll see your 7 and raise you 1. And out out comes the announcement that the latest participant is Theory. And I'm not quite sure where we're going with this. Is WWE going to try to push Theory into becoming the top champion this early in his career? I mean, you can always throw the whole Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton thing at me where they became champions at an early age. I just don't think I don't think Theory is quite ready to hold that top prize yet. I would like to see him maybe try to get another run at either the United States Championship back, or maybe even possibly get some other gold. I have a hard time seeing him go up against the tribal chief at this point. It wouldn't make any sense to me. I would say some highlights from that match, though. How about the 6-man power bomb the 6 men it took to power bomb Omos through the announce table? Holy shit, man! That can be no easy feat, especially when you got to coordinate 6 guys to do a power bomb on a tall guy like that. I could possibly imagine if the Shield was still together, but yeah, I would say that looked very impressive. Another highlight was watching Butch get involved and come up and jump on Drew McIntyre's back to try to stop him from making an attempt to grab the Money in the Bank briefcase. Man, that guy even took a bullet because, once Butch got Drew basically down to the mat, Sheamus throws in the brogue kick, but doesn't just get Drew with the brogue kick, gets a little bit on Butch there. I guess way to take one for the team there, Butch. And then I would say definitely another great highlight. How about Riddle hitting that RKO from the top of the ladder on Seth freaking Rollins, man? Could that have been done any better? I would say probably if it could have been done any better, it would have definitely been done by Randy Orton for sure. Overall, Money in the Bank I felt was a pretty great event. I mean, there was a few botches in there. I'm not one that likes to bring up botches either, because for one, unless you're actually in that ring and you can prove that you do better, I don't think you should ever bring it up. Just my opinion on that. I would definitely say match of the night goes to the Street Profits and the Usos. Man, that was one hell of a match that went forever, and I think that could have been a match that went all night long and fans would have stayed entertained. They were so into it, and now with that controversy end, I think they just found a way to make that feud go even longer. All right, with that being said, we're going to wrap it up for the night. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, but I also want to give a special shout out to a few podcast accounts. I'd like to give a shout out to The Hill Truth, done by Ted the Hillbilly Hill. You can find them at Hillbilly Hill on Twitter. And another great podcast to go check out, Austin Boyer. He does the Wrestling World. He just recently did an awesome episode on Chris Benoit, and I think you should give that a listen if you were definitely a fan of the guy back then. Fan or not, it definitely is an interesting listen, and Austin does bring up some good things in his episode there. Also give a listen to, the Midwest Marks podcast, the Mid podcast, the Botch Spots and Chair Shots podcast, as well as go give Augusto All Elite a listen. Him and Noah do a really great job on their episodes. And I want to give a big thank you to Libsyn.com. Let me try that again. I'd like to give a big thank you to Libsyn.com for hosting our podcast, Pixabay.com for letting us donate to their site and allowing us to use royalty-free music downloaded from their site, as well as the artist G. Vidden, Light Saturation, and Coma Media for letting us use their music for our podcast. And we are now on Spotify, iOS, Apple, iHeartRadio, Odyssey, I think that's called, Player FM, Samsung, Geo 7, or GeoSaven. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. And we have recently now just got our podcast out on Boomplay, Deezer, Ghana. I hope I pronounced that right. I apologize. And I think it's pronounced Rezo or Reso. You'll be able to hear us on pretty much most platforms that you can that you listen to your other podcast on. If you're not able to listen to us on your favorite podcast, let us know and we'll find a way to get it on there. If you would like to interact with us, you can get us on our Google voicemail. You can leave me a voicemail with feedback, or if you want something aired on your opinions. Our number is 385-367-4772. You can also interact with me on Twitter at John, JOHN, WF Insight, spelled just like the show, INCITE. I also do more than just wrestling on that account, so don't be afraid to come talk to me. You can also join us on our Facebook page. Go to the groups and find the Fans of Pro Wrestling, where we try to interact with everyone as much as we can. Other than that, I hope you all have a great 4th of July. Please be safe. Don't do anything too dangerous, but still blow some stuff up. Fireworks, that is. None of that shotgun shindig shit. And may you all have a great time with your loved ones. We'll catch you next week.